Welcome to Soft Spoken Story Time. Today's story is The Clockmaker's Rest. Have you ever heard a clock that doesn't tick but sings? I hadn't, until I found the house at the edge of the hills. It was old, crooked, with ivy spilling over the roof. And inside, time felt different. I'm going to tell you all about it. A place where the hours stretch and sigh. Settle in and let's begin. I'd been waking all day, boots dusty, shoulders heavy. The path was narrow, winding past forgotten fields. When I saw it, a house, half hidden by brambles. Its windows glowed faintly, like embers in the dusk. I didn't plan to stop, but the air felt warm, pulling me closer. The door creaked open on its own, just a little, enough to peek inside. Clocks lined the walls, dozens of them, maybe hundreds. Not one ticked, instead they hummed, a low, soft sound, like a lullaby carried on the wind. I stepped in, and the floorboards sighed under my feet. There was a chair by a workbench, tools scattered, tiny gears, springs, a magnifying glass catching the light. And then I saw him, the clockmaker. He was old, older than the house, perhaps, with hands steady as stone. He didn't look up, just kept working, threading a wire through a clock face made of glass. I should have said something, but I didn't. I just watched. The humming grew, wrapping around me. Not loud, but deep. It felt like the room was breathing. He finished one clock, set it aside, and started another. I wondered, who were they for? No one else was there, just us and the sound. The air smelled of wood and oil, faint, comforting. I sat on a stool I hadn't noticed before, and the weight of the day started to lift. I don't know how long I stayed. Minutes, maybe hours. Time didn't feel sharp anymore. It blurred, softened. The clockmaker glanced at me once. His eyes were pale, like frosted glass, but kind. He nodded, then slid a clock towards me. It was small, round, with hands that didn't move, not like normal clocks. He whispered, barely a sound. Listen. I held it close, and there it was. A melody, so faint I thought I'd imagined it before. It wasn't a song I knew, more like a memory I'd forgotten. The hands stayed still, but the tune shifted, slow, then slower, like a heartbeat winding down. I looked around. Every clock sang its own note, some high and clear, some deep and warm. Together, they wove something, not music exactly, but a feeling, peace maybe, or rest. I asked, why don't they tick? My voice felt too loud. He smiled just a little and said, they don't measure time, they hold it. I didn't quite understand, not fully, but I leaned back, letting the humming fill the spaces in my mind. The light dimmed outside, or maybe my eyes were closing. The clockmaker kept working, his hands moving like water over stones. I wondered if he'd been here before, tending these strange, quiet things. The stool creaked under me. The warmth stayed. I didn't want to leave. I must have dozed, because when I opened my eyes, the clockmaker was gone. The workbench was empty, tools neatly lined up. The clocks still hummed, but softer now, like a whisper fading. The little clock he'd given me sat in my hands, still singing its quiet tune. I stood up, legs slow and heavy, but not in a bad way. The room felt full, not of things, but of something else. I stepped outside, and the night was there, stars bright, air cool. The house looked smaller somehow, the glow fainter. I turned back to say thank you, but the door was shut, windows dark. I walked away with the clock in my pocket, its song pushing against me. It didn't tell me the hour, it didn't need to. It held something better, a stillness I could keep. I don't know if he was real, or if the house was even real, but I hear it sometimes, even now, that hum, low and sweet. But as I walked, something tugged at me. Not a sound, not a call, just a feeling, soft as a shadow. The clock in my pocket hummed still, its tune brushing my fingertips. I stopped and turned back. The house was there, smaller than before, almost swallowed by the dark. I didn't mean to return, but my feet moved that way. The night was thick now, stars dim behind a veil of clouds. The air grew warm again, like it had done before. I reached the door. It was ajar, just as I'd left it. The humming spilled out, louder this time, but still so soft, like a breath held too long. I stepped inside and the clocks greeted me. Their songs overlapped, like a chorus of whispers. The clockmaker wasn't there, not at first. The workbench sat empty, tools glinting in the low light. But something was different. A corner of the room, a wall I hadn't noticed, caught my eye. The ivy outside had crept in, curling round a seam, a door, disguised by dust and time. I pressed my hand into it, and it gave, sliding open with a sigh. Beyond was a narrow stair, spiraling down. The humming grew, not insistent but curious, pulling me. I descended, one step, then another. The walls were lined with clocks, smaller ones, delicate, their faces glowing like tiny moons. At the bottom was a room, not big, not fast, just quiet. A single lantern hung, casting gold over a table. On it, a clock, larger than the rest, its hands frozen at midnight. The song it sang was deep, slow, like water moving under ice. I sat. I had to. The air felt thick with rest, with something older than words. Then I saw him, the clockmaker. He stood in the shadow, watching, not surprised, not alarmed. "You heard it," he said, his voice a murmur. I nodded. He stepped closer, set a gear on the table, and began to work. Not on the big clock, on something new, tiny, fragile. A clock no bigger than a coin. The lantern flickered. The humming wrapped around us. I didn't ask why. I didn't need to. When he finished, he held it out to me. This clock didn't sing. Not yet. "It's yours," he whispered. "Fill it." I took it. Its weight was light, like a promise. The humming faded, not gone, just rested. I climbed the stairs, the lantern's glow behind me, and stepped into the night once more. The house stayed silent as I left. No glow, no sound, just the two clocks in my hands, one singing, one waiting. I don't know what he meant, not fully, but I feel it still, that quiet, that rest. The hills stretched ahead, and I carried it with me. That was the story of the Clockmaker's Rest, a place where time hums and waits. I hope it brought you calm, a little peace. If it did, subscribe, as I have lots more soft stories to come. Sleep well, until next time.